All right, good morning to Calculus 1. So it's time for test 2. So let's go ahead and have a look at what we have as problems going here. Mean value theorem 1. It says find all values C that satisfy the mean value theorem, but it cannot explain why not. So we have 9 minus x squared all over 4x. Let's go ahead and write that problem down. We have 9 minus x squared all over 4x. It's also important to know what the interval is. It's on the interval 1 to 3. So what the mean value theorem says is that whatever we're dealing with as far as this function, whatever this thing is going to look like, okay, something like that somewhere along the value between 1 and 3, there's going to be some kind of what we're going to do is we're going to find out what is the slope between 1 and 3. Somewhere along the line, somewhere there's going to be a C, so that at some point the derivative of this function is going to have the same slope as the whole interval's slope. Okay, so that's how you think about this problem. So the first thing we got to do is we got to figure out, like, well, what's the overall slope between 1 and 3? So let's go ahead and set that up. So when x equals 1, right, we have 9 minus 1 squared over 4 times 1 equals 9 minus 1 over 4. So we get 8 over 4 equals 2. Okay, I'm thinking whoever set this problem up must have been very kind to you. Okay, when x equals 3, or x equals 3, we have 9 minus 3 squared over 4 times 3. That's going to be 9 minus 9. So we have 9 minus 9 on the top with 12 on the bottom, which is going to be 0. Okay, so we have to figure out a slope here. So we get y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Go ahead and make sure you're doing this in the right order. We're going to say that x2 is going to be 3. X1 is going to be 1. When x was 3, the value of the slope, the y value was 0. When x was 1, the y value was 2. Okay, so we're going to have our slope here. So our m is equal to -2. 3 minus 1 is also 2, is equal to -1. So that's the thing that we're trying to figure out. So somewhere in this function, there is a c, derivative at c is actually going to equal -1. So that's what we have to figure out first. What's the derivative equal? So let's go ahead and write down, we have 9 minus x squared over 4x. So we have to find the derivative. So, oh, it's a product. So it's going to be derivative of the first times the second minus the first times the derivative of the second all over the second squared. Okay, so let's go ahead and sort that out. Okay, I always like to go ahead and set up the problems first. So I'm going to take the derivative of the top times 4x minus, and then we're going to write down the problem, minus x squared. And then I want the derivative of 4x tick, okay, all divided by, what are we doing to the bottom? 4x squared, okay? So let's go ahead and take that derivative now. So we're going to end up with -2x, that's the derivative of this piece, times 4x minus, leave the first one alone, minus 9 minus x squared, times the derivative of the second piece, that's just going to be 4. And we're going to all divide it by 16x squared. And this is going to be setting it equal to -1. That was the slope we found out in the first step. So now we're going to have to go solve this thing. And we'll ask you, like, do you remember how to solve rational functions? Of course you do. And the way you solve rational functions is to make them not rational functions. So 2 times 4 is going to be 8. So we have a -8x squared. We have a, let's go with minus 4x squared. Actually, let's go with minus on minus is plus 4x squared. Minus 36, it's going to be 9 times 4. So distributing here. And this is all divided by 16x squared. We're setting this equal to -1. We have a little bit of cleanup to deal with. So we have -8 plus 4. That's going to be -4x squared minus 36 all over 16x squared, set equal to -1. Clean this up and do it however you'd like to do it. So I'm going to pull -4 out of here. So we're going to get x squared plus 9, just distributing out a -4 to both of those pieces. I'm going to put 4 times 4x squared on the bottom here equals -1. Some stuff cancels. Some stuff will cancel. So we have x squared plus 9 over 4x squared equals this negative canceled with that negative, so equals 1. So we go ahead and figure that out. So we have x squared plus 9 equals 4x squared. I just cleared the fractions because that's how we solve rational equations. And then we're going to put all the x's on one side. So we're going to have 9 is equal to 4 minus x squared. That's going to be 3x squared. And I hope you guys don't mind. I'm doing this from right to left. This is going to be 3 divided both sides by 3 equals x squared. X will equal plus or minus the square root of 3. X equals plus or minus the square root of 3. Well, which one is it? Now remember, what interval are we on? We are from 1 to 3. The square root of 3 is actually in this one. The positive one is that. So the C value is actually going to be the square root of 3. And that's where they actually asked us to deal with. It's like, okay, what C is going to give us the same derivative as the whole point? Now, you do have to be careful about the fact that things are continuous. So notice that it's not continuous at 0. The interval does not include 0. So we're safe as far as that goes. So that was problem 1A from the test 2 version of this thing. So I hope that's a good start for everybody. I hope everybody's studying for the test, and I hope everybody does really well on the test. So I'm going to say thank you very much for watching the video. Good luck, everybody, with exams, and I hope everybody does really well. Thank you.